What's up, everybody? It's Tyler with Hooksets Are Free. Hope you're having a good one whenever it is that you're watching this video. It is Thursday night, November 4th, about 9:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So my wife is working again tonight. Thought I would hop on here. I've got a package to unbox and show you guys some new baits, specifically some new baits that are fresh on the market this year. You can't find them everywhere. So I did go out of my way to purchase these guys from Tackle Direct. I don't shop there all that often, but you're gonna see what I picked up and why I got them there. So what's up, Grayson? How you doing, man? It's been too long. Has it? I think I was on once last week, wasn't I? If I'm not mistaken, but maybe it's been too long since you've been on the stream while I've been streaming. So yeah, I don't disagree. Good to see you guys in here. What's up, Ron? What is up, Justin? Been a while. So I don't know that tonight's going to be a particularly long stream, but I did want to hop on here in order to open this package with you guys. It came in the mail yesterday, and I thought I would be patient. So this guy's still sealed up. I have not been able to see these baits in person just yet. So I'm very excited. And yeah, if you like what you see as well, I would recommend checking out Tackle Direct for now, as places or as somewhere that might have these baits in stock. But you will see them start to come in stock more and more over the next month or 2 months. It's possible that that they will get ordered a lot over Black Friday, and once they come in stock on places like Tackle Warehouse and Discount Tackle, things like that. So I'll try to keep you guys up to date as for when they are in stock at different places, but I'm pretty excited about what I got in this package. So I'm going to give people just, 2, 3, 5 minutes, and then I'll open this package for you. I'll tell you just real quick about fishing this week so far. The weather was cold the front half of this week, and then yesterday, today, and tomorrow are warm. So I got out for a little bit yesterday and caught one dink, like a little guy. So that was nothing noteworthy, but I suppose the bait is. I don't know where the exact bait is right now. It's in my tackle bag because I took it off to tie on a different crankbait, but essentially it was the Rapila Ripstop, but more in their silver color pattern. So it's got a black back and is totally silver. Has a similar belly with the white and the red on it. And what I did was swap the middle hook for one of those VMC bladed trebles, and just add a little bit of flash to it. That ripstop is really good in shallow water. So I've told you guys about that. Sorry if you can hear my dog just scratching away. I don't know what she's trying to do and getting my attention. But what's up, Simon? Got your first ever 6 cents lures today in the mail. Sweet, man. Right on. Yeah, you guys know that I like 6 cents. They make some great stuff. This is that Curve 55. And this is that Movement 80X that I just have sitting right in front of me. But yeah, gotta love 6 cents. I've actually got a couple more here. This is the Catwalk. This is that Splashback Popper. There's that Ned Fry. You guys know I got a couple more down here. That Stroker Craw and the Clout stick bait. I do love 6 cents. So I've got a majority of the baits that they make and sell. And so happy for you, man. So I caught that dink on the ripstop in the larger 12 size, which is a 120 millimeters. It's got 3 hooks on it. And then today I went fishing at, I had a work meeting downtown Denver. So I stopped by a place that I've only been to one time, and it was earlier this year. Pike fishing is good there, and bass fishing is good, but I went kind of in search of pike specifically. So I brought some of those bigger pike profile swim baits that I got from Weston. I brought the big blade chatterbait from Z-Man, and some jerk baits and crankbaits, things like that. And I got some bumps and some really good follows on that big swim bait. Like pike that were probably 35, 40 inches, just giant fish. But the only one that I caught was a little guy, probably 25 inches or so, and caught him on this Rapila Bx Minnow. So if you guys don't already know, the BX series of baits is a balsa wood core and a hard plastic exterior. So they make this bait in a jointed version as well as this standard jerk bait version. And this is a good one for sure, the BX Minnow. So it's got a decent swimming action, but really it is made to be a rip bait. It does float though, so you kind of have to work it a bit faster. And I did catch that pike on this bait today. And then I switched to a neighboring pond and ended up whacking some bluegill on a little chunk of the Max Scent hitworm. You guys know that I like to get into some panfish from time to time, and that is one of the main ways that I do it. So, am I still alive or what? It shows that there's only 1 or 2 people in here right now. Ron, Justin, Grace, and Simon, are you guys still in here or no? If you are, leave a comment. Let me know that you want me to open this package right now, and I will do that. Because I thought by now, 7, 8 minutes in, that we'd have a few more people in here. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if my internet cut out or what. It looks like I've got a stable signal. Maybe people just jumped in and jumped out. Grayson and Justin, you guys come in here and say it's been a while, and then you chill for 5 minutes. What's up? Ron says let her rip. And you know what? Ron and I are dudes. So I'm going to go ahead and let her rip because I want to hold these baits and check them out for myself. So, wow. It's a good thing that this knife was not open yet before I just dropped it on myself. So let's go ahead and cut her open. Ooh, baby. So if you guys follow Debo's Fishing or Kevin the Baitman Baxter, you would have seen 1 or 2 of these baits already, but let's get straight into the juice off the bat, all right? And that is the freaking Strike King Chick Magnet. As I said, I did have to go out of my way to shop at Tackle Direct in order to acquire these baits because I was really trying to get my hands on the Chick Magnet and a couple of colors of one of the other baits that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But this Chick Magnet is a new flat-sided crankbait with a circuit board lip, and of course they cover up all the valuable information on here, which is annoying. But I want to say that this guy dives somewhere in the ballpark of like 4 to 6 feet. Yeah, 4 to 6 feet. Designed by Andy Morgan. So this is a Tennessee inspired bait. So interestingly enough, Andy Morgan and Ott Defoe live in pretty close proximity to one another. So this color is called Firecraw. Not surprisingly, you got that green back and that orange. I mean, a little bit of red on the shoulders, but it's really all orange, that classic Firecraw color. So few things that make this unique are that it's a fairly narrow bait, although not overly so. Pretty tall, pretty big bill. It's got round bend hooks on it, and it's got a rattle. Now, the rattle is not as loud as I thought it would be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull these out of the package and then compare them side by side with a couple of the other popular flat side cranks on the market right now. This is one of my favorite color patterns that Strike King is making these days. It is called Natural Shad. That's exactly what it is. I think my dog's got to use the bathroom. Hopefully she can wait about an hour or so. But this one with this color pattern really kind of shows the profile a little bit better and just how deep that belly is. So it has a rather deep belly that tapers off to a thinner tail. So I wonder how that's going to affect the action. But I'm digging this color as always. The rattle's a little bit louder in this one. So, and then the last color I got is the Natural Bream. Both of these color patterns, the Natural Bream and the Natural Shad, I believe are wrapped color patterns as opposed to painted on. I could be wrong about that, but I do believe that it affects the durability of the color patterns on these baits. So this Firecraw should hold up just a little bit better in terms of paint eventually chipping. But even with all the baits that I have in this Natural Shad color pattern, I haven't had too much of an issue with the paint chipping off all that fast. I just had somebody mention it to me recently on Instagram that they've had pretty serious problem with that. So definitely worth noting. What's up, Daniel? How you doing tonight, man? What I wanted to compare this bait to side by side was the Rapala Og Slim. Okay, you guys know that these baits have a lot of similarities. However, the most obvious fairly similar looking baits. Again, you get a deeper belly on the Chick Magnet than you do on the OG Slim, and a slightly different bill shape. It's narrower on the Chick Magnet than it is on the OG Slim, but both of these are going to have similar characteristics, similar swimming action to them, in that from a width profile, they're pretty similar. Diving depth, the same, 4 to 6 feet. This is called the OG Slim 6 because it dives up to 6 feet. The Chick Magnet, this version just dives 4 to 6 feet. It's possible that they will make a different version in the future, but I'm not totally sure. So anyway, the main difference between these two baits is that the OG Slim is a balsa wood bait It is totally silent. And the chick magnet is a hard plastic injected bait with a rattle in it. So theoretically, the balsa bait should be a little bit more subtle and manage to get a few more bites. But there are situations that call for either or. So say throw the chick magnet first to find fish, get on them, and when the bite slows down, or if say you're just fishing a more heavily pressured body of water from the get-go, then I would start out with that OG Slim. So as I showed you guys before, the Berkeley Fritz side is a different bait. This has more of a traditional crankbait body, but is very thin, very narrow, and it is kind of its own unique deal. It's got a plastic lip that is a I forgot this last time we talked about it, guys. What that shape is called that is hexagonal on the bill. But picked up 3 of the new chick magnet flat side crankbaits, okay? Ron says, this is like watching a video with the president. Everyone's falling asleep. Hey, where'd everyone go? Yeah, exactly. I think everybody that showed up in the first 5 minutes just vanished, dude. So, Coffin Bill, thank you, Ron. Sheesh. I don't know why that's escaping my mind from time to time. But while we're on the topic of the Rapala OG Slim, I did pick one of these up because they were on clearance from Tackle Direct. And clearance is a relative term. These baits sell for $10, and I think it was $8. So I suppose we could just say it was on sale, even though they had it listed as on clearance. But still, to save 20% on this bait is not something that makes me mad. And this was the one color pattern that I didn't already have and really wanted to add to my arsenal. So this is called Big Shad, and it's a really unique color pattern. You get this kind of green back, purple shoulders, chartreuse lateral line, and then a silver with almost like a black bottom. It's more of like a bluish hue, but hard for you guys to be able to pick up on the camera. So yeah, Big Shad is a really cool color pattern. It's got a lot of iridescence to it. And I've got it in like the DT4, maybe the DT6, but could not find any in the OG Slim until just now. And they were on sale at Tackle Direct. So I picked one up. Sean Z, what's up, dude? How you doing? Corey, thanks for the Coffin Bill comment. All right. So we got a few people jumping in here a little bit late. Sean, you didn't miss a lot, man. If we're being honest, I got 3 of the chick magnets. So I opened 2 of them. I did not open this natural bream color for no real reason. I'm going to open it and put it in the box, but got one in the natural shad color pattern and one in the fire cross. So this guy will be more of a springtime special. You can hear this rattle is a bit more subtle than I had heard or thought that it was going to be, but we were just kind of showing this bait side by side next to the OG Slim and how they compare. They're fairly similar, if we're being honest, in that they've got that balsa profile to them. They both have circuit board lips, but the main difference being that the OG Slim is a balsa wood bait with no rattle in it, and the chick magnet is a injected plastic bait with a rattle inside. So they both are roughly the same weight and dive the same depth. So we're talking just shy of half an ounce and a 4 to 6 foot diver. So that is the main thing that you missed. And then I was just starting to show the fact that maybe I'm moving on. Did I just miss something? I think that was all that I showed. Were those 4 baits so far? 3 chick magnets, 1 OG Slim, this guy in the big Shad. Doing a little bit of stocking up on flat sides, mostly just to fill out my collection. You know, I don't have a ton of flat sides. I've got KVD 1.5 flats here. I've got some Berkeley Fritz sides here. This is where I keep my evergreen flat forces. I've got some Storm Arashi flats and a Livingston or two. Got my Rapala OG Slims here. 6 cents flat 75. Couple more OG Slims. And that's about it. So yeah, I don't have a huge collection of flat sides. I don't really go out of my way to pursue hard to find baits, but rather more mainstream and popular baits that are new to the market in general. There might be a day where I really get into more handmade, crafty types of baits, but it's not quite that time just yet. So Corey says, I watch every video, but usually not live since I'm in Oklahoma. Good night, all. Tight lines. Have to fish in the morning. You'll have to finish in the morning. I was gonna say, you have to fish in the morning. You get to fish, man. No problem, man. Have a good night's sleep. Enjoy the rest of the video when you have an opportunity to watch. And thank you for tuning in. No problem. I know that I hop on here late, and so that's my bad, guys. It's 11 o'clock Central Time and midnight Eastern Time right now. So it's just kind of the way it goes when my wife is working. And usually I try to stream on the weekends. But I was eager to open this box, and I don't know for sure how things are going to go tomorrow night when my wife is working. So thought I would hop on here tonight. You're right, Sean. I do not have the Megabass Sonic side, and I hear that I need it. So thank you for the recommendation. And I might just have to pick a couple up. So next and almost last up, this was not a big order, right? I only picked up like 8 baits. So I already showed you 4. So I only ordered 7, I guess. The next 2 are the Berkeley Stunna. I showed you guys this bait when I picked one up from Susquehanna Fishing Tackle not too long ago when I was picking up all that Berkeley Max scent. I've got this one in the Perfect Perch color, I think it's called. Either way, it's a perch pattern. Pretty standard here. And we talked just about how it is fairly reminiscent of the Megabass Vision 110 in how its tail tapers off, how it has that flat belly. And it's just roughly the same size, you know. This is a 112 millimeter bait. As you can see, it's 14.1 grams, so right at a half ounce. And yeah, it says it's a slow sinking bait. I really meant to bring this out with me today. I just left it at home, you know, when I was going to chase pike and bass. I just didn't know where this was located, but I really want to see what the action is like. Now's the time to really start fishing it, as the water is, you know, really in the 40s for me. there might be a couple of bodies of water that are really in the low 50s at this point, but those would be few and far between for me. So the weather has mostly dropped off. Halloween was like in the 30s, and yeah, it's been somewhat steadily cold. So I picked up 2 more colors of the Berkeley Stunna, a couple of which are fairly popular and hard to acquire at the moment. If I'm not mistaken, I think Tackle Warehouse did also just get the Berkeley Stunna in. So it's not like these are like I'm getting these super early, but a lot of places still don't have these, or if they got them, they already sold out of them. Now this is kind of annoying to me, this packaging, in trying to get the bait off of the little card. So this color here is wicked, and it's called Hanky Panky. So I believe that's because Hank Cherry designed the color, but essentially this is the Megabass, what do they call it? Stain Reaction Orange Belly. This is just Berkeley's version of that color. So it's a white with a little bit of shine and flash to it with that colored belly. So good color here, Hanky Panky. And then dang, Daniel is on East Coast time right now, just chilling, late stuff. So guys, we got 8 people in here right now. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday night. I am just showing a couple of new baits that I picked up from Tackle Direct. And I will show these again one more time after I finish the unboxing. But this right here is essentially a matte Pro Blue. And they call this guy, what do they call it? Ice Cold? Something like that. Stone Cold. Stone Cold, baby. So this is like a Pro Blue, but it's a matte finish. So love that. And now these are really going to be what I use to start out. And this should cover a fairly wide variety of color scenarios for me. Of course, they make a bunch of really great colors in this bait, but I'm excited to see how this bait stacks up against the competition. Like I mentioned when I first opened this guy up last week, I find that that the finish is good, the design is good, the weight transfer system and the noise that it puts out is solid, and these treble hooks are sticky sharp. However, couple things that I notice are that, one, this plastic seems to be just a little bit thin, which isn't always a bad thing. But it does make me wonder a little bit about durability. If this thing is accidentally banging into rocks or something of the sort, is it going to hold up? And then 2, these stock hooks, while they are sharp, they are like a size 6 EWG. And to me, that is not the ideal hook to be thrown on a jerkbait. So I will swap out these stock hooks. I will use them on small body crankbaits, things like that, where I know that the fish are more likely to actually wolf the bait. But if you take a look at this, these hooks are not necessarily improperly sized. So I really don't think you could size up in the front/middle. You might be able to size up a hair between the middle and back, but really this does need a size 6 or potentially a short shank size 4. Um, so I'm not totally sure about this guy, but I will put on some round bend Gamakatsus or owner ST36 hooks on here and be good to go. So the Berkeley Stunna is a $15 jerkbait. Falls right into that middle category with say the Jackal re-range, which is a JDM bait. So compared to most of its competitors that are American made, the Stunna is expensive. It's more than pretty much all of the Rapala jerk baits. It's more than the 6 Cents jerk baits. It's more than the Spro jerk baits. And of course, more than the Strike King jerk baits, and so on and so forth. So let's see. Yeah, the Spro Mix Stick, the Lucky Craft Pointer. See, Lucky Craft is JDM too. If I go to my JDM box, it really, the Jackal re-range and the Lucky Craft Pointer are really the only other baits that are in that price range. You know, even the I'm a Flit is cheaper. Um, so, quite frankly, it's a pretty expensive jerkbait. So, I have high hopes for it, and I'm expecting it to perform well. But I will keep you guys posted about my impressions of it once I actually have a chance to fish it and see what the action looks like. So, Sean said they dropped the bottom of our lake. It went from full summer pool to winter pool in just a couple days. Damn, dude. That's tough. But the plus is now a lot of submerged grass is matted on the surface. Cool. What's the water temp for you? Um, and how are you changing up your fishing to be able to work that grass? Sean said the G finesse hooks are awesome for jerk baits. I don't doubt that at all. I just haven't gotten around to stocking up on them. And they are pretty expensive hooks. Um, but I don't know how much more expensive they are than say the owner ST36. So I have to look into that. But I prefer just kind of a standard Gamakatsu bronze round bend hook. So I've got a bunch of those and really don't have any issues with them. But the main reason I'm going to switch out these hooks is not the size, but the fact that these are EWGs. So with jerk baits, you're going to get a lot of fish that are reacting to the bait. You know, you want this thing to suspend in their face, regardless of how long you are pausing the bait and letting it sit there. It's once you're working the bait and it jumps, that then they will lash out and they will often grab it and spit it out or literally just ram it or swipe at it. So having a round bend hook is going to increase the odds of hooking up. Having 3 hooks on a jerkbait as opposed to 2 is going to increase your odds of hooking up. So I prefer 3 hook jerkbaits over 2. I prefer round bend hooks over EWGs when it comes to jerkbaits. Ron says, Tyler, do you know what hooks Jackal uses on their TN60? Sharpest hooks I've seen yet. I do not know what type of hooks those are, but they are very good hooks for sure. Um, it's interesting that the sizing of those hooks are very different, the front from the back. Um, but no, man, I can't tell you what brand of hooks Jackal uses. So sorry. Sean says the fish here will stay in the grass until November because that's where the bait stays. So what are you throwing? You throwing a chatterbait, a swim jig, Texas rig, or since it's matted, are the temperatures still high enough to where you can throw a frog or a toad or something like that, and fish over the top of them, dude. What's the strategy? I hope my dog's not pissing on the floor upstairs, but she's moving around more than would be ideal. Okay, last bait in this package, guys. And this is a little bit of, I don't want to say sentimental, but it's worth us talking about for a few minutes, because this right here is the Duo Realis Apex Vibe 100 Lipless Crankbait. I have a couple of these in my collection. Very good lipless crankbait, and it's an oversized lipless crankbait that a ton of R&D went into. First, I'm going to read the back of the package, and then we're going to talk about it for 1 second, because it's been in the news. Not this bait, but it says the pioneer of the Apex brand, the Vibe 100, is a large lipless crankbait carrying a meaty profile and weight not regularly seen in lipless designs. It's designed to release a unique vibration, exit cover and obstructions with little effort, and reach its target in adverse conditions. It also possesses swim descent motion and will lay upright, aiding better line control in shallow and deeper probing. So, this is a bait that shimmies on the fall, will stand up at rest on the bottom, and can be swum both slow and fast on a variety of retrieves. So, not only is it a fantastic bait, but part of that is because it was designed, like many of the Duo Realis baits, by this man right here, Aaron Martens. And we all need to take just a moment of silence, to pay tribute to Aaron Martin. Super sad news that Aaron passed away just a few days ago, and not totally surprising, because he's been fighting a rare form of brain cancer for like almost 2 years now. So, anyway, was a fantastic angler and person in general. He's had like a softer voice, and just was a total nerd about fishing. So, prayers go out to his family right now in the wake of his death. But thank you, Aaron Martens, for all you did for the fishing community. And congratulations on all your success. May you rest in peace, Aaron Martens. So, this is the Apex Vibe 100. And this is a really cool color pattern. This guy was on clearance, surprisingly. Was, I think, the last one that they had. So if you go check, it's probably not going to be there. This color is called Shadow Halo. I've got one of these in like a gizzard shad type of color that is a little bit translucent. And I've got one in like a chartreuse purple, kind of like a jink juice type of color. And thought that this would be a perfect middle ground for something with a lot of flash to it. So, again, this thing falls nose first, and it has a shimmy on the fall, swims down, and then it will nose down, tail up as it swims, and you can swim this thing really slow. So for such a big bait, this is 4 inches and weighs just a little over an ounce. This is a very large lipless crankbait, but It's silent. It might actually have like a little bit of a loose weight in there that occasionally will come free and make just a subtle knocking sound. But other than that, it's really the vibration that this bait puts out underwater. So, um, for such a big bait, it is fairly narrow, and that is part of what allows it to swim so effectively at a variety of speeds. I mean, you can fish this thing fast, and it's not going to blow out or act funny on you. So, um, you do need a little bit upsized gear in order to throw this thing. Quite frankly, you'd probably need something a little bit longer, somewhere at least 7.3, maybe 7.6. And if not a heavy, you're going to need a medium heavy um, at the very least. But you're probably going to be underpowered with a medium heavy. In an ideal world, you'd have something that's a heavy power and like a moderate fast action. But quite frankly, you're going to need a medium heavy, moderate, or moderate fast action. Brian Waterman, Matthew Acevedo, what's up, homies? Frankie, what's up? Man, all you fools just showing up late tonight. You missed the boat. Well, lucky for you, I will give you a last minute run through since we have only been on here for 40 minutes, and I'll probably stay for, another 20 or 30. But yeah, exactly, Sean. That's what I'm talking about. If you've got a big crankbait rod, that's what you need for it. But most people don't have a big crankbait rod. A lot of people don't even have dedicated crankbait rods in the first place. But a standard crankbait rod is not going to be the deal. So this is where you could get away throwing like a chatterbait rod or something of the sort that's just going to have a little bit softer of a tip, but still have plenty of backbone to be able to launch such a heavy bait. So I agree with you, Matt. Rest in peace to Aaron Martins, for sure. Very sad. If you think that's a big lipless, you should try the Megabass Conocera swimmer. It's a 2-ounce lipless that floats, only goes 2 to 3 feet, moves unlike any other lipless I've seen. Well, I've never freaking heard of that bait, so yeah, I'll tell you, this is a big lipless crankbait. Okay, there are only a handful of 1-ounce lipless crankbaits on the market. Uh, this is one of them. It's big. All right. Don't give me a hard time about that. Ray in the house. What's up, kid Iraq? How you doing tonight, man? Ferg, what's up? Sean said the Daiwa Rebellion has a 7.4 heavy composite that would handle it. Yep. I hear you. Frankie says, I have some sort of sentimental tie to Rapila baits. Well, nothing wrong with that, dude. No shame in the game that is Rapila. I've got a ton of Rapala baits too. I've shown you guys my domestic jerkbait box, and I've got a ton of the X wraps and a ton of the rip stops and the shadow wraps, and I've got a lot of the husky jerks, and yeah, I've got a lot of their balsa baits too. I was just saying earlier that today I caught a little pike. I say a little pike because it was probably only like 25 inches. But on this BX Minnow from Rapala, which is a great bait. Just a little bit unconventional for a jerkbait because, one, it's got that BX balsa wood interior, hard plastic exterior. So you get kind of the best of both worlds when it comes to that subtle action, but extreme durability. Um, but this bait is made to swim and or rip. And I was working this thing like a jerk bait today. Um, got a pike to eat it. So I was targeting pike, uh, was in kind of stained water, and I figured this fire tiger would probably get him. So yeah, man, I like Rapila too for sure. Ray says, Tyler, I ordered a new Sims sweater from a fly shop up in your neck of the woods. Only place I could find it in stock. Sims is legit, man. I love Sims. Um, I mean, most of my fly fishing gear is Sims. My waders, my boots, a couple of my jackets. They make super high quality stuff, and I don't blame you for picking up a Sims sweater. So sweet, man. What was the name of the shop that you picked it up from? Sean's still thinking about the rod to throw this Apex 100 on. Magnum square bill rod would work. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's the same deal, right? If you can find a medium heavy, um, moderate fast, or a heavy moderate, anything kind of in that range, um, where you're going to get something that has enough power to be able to launch a heavy bait like this, but enough give to when you hook up on a treble hook bait like this that you can keep them pinned. That's really all that matters. So typically speaking, longer is better, um, in terms of rod length to be able to handle a bait like this. But yeah, Apex Vibe 100. I think I got this thing for like 10 or 12 bucks. So pick this one up. I'll go in reverse order. Um, I picked up 2 more of the Berkeley Stunna jerk baits. Youch. In what looked to be 2 of my favorite color patterns. This one is called Hanky Panky, which is like a stain reaction orange belly. A lot of good flash on there. You can see that weight transfer system here right in the center of the bait. See that ball rolling? And then this color called Stone Cold, which is a matte finish version of a Pro Blue. So very similar to a couple of Megabass colors. Very similar design in shape and profile to a Megabass Vision 110. And it will be interesting to see how this bad boy stacks up. You know, it's interesting. It makes me wonder, are more companies starting to do this kind of thing where, say, um, Striking comes out with a Thunder Cricket because the Jackhammer Chatterbait is the undisputed #1 in its category. I know the patent is involved, and so that probably uh, plays in and makes this scenario not a great comparison. But do you think that Berkeley decided to make the Stunna and design it pretty closely after the 110 um, from Megabass and charge a little bit more than everybody else is doing so that you could get kind of a close to a Vision 110 at a significantly cheaper price, but yet still pretty pricey? Um, the Jackhammer's 16 bucks. The Thunder Cricket is like 13 bucks. The Vision 110 is 25 bucks. The Stunna is 15 bucks. So I kind of see what they're doing and not totally surprised. And then I got 3 of the new Chick Magnet flat side crankbaits. These are a injected plastic hard flat sided crankbait with a circuit board lip. This thing weighs about a ½ ounce, dives 4 to 6 feet, and does have a little bit of a rattle in it. So picked one up in Fire Craw, picked one up in the Natural Bream, this bluegill color pattern, and one in the Natural Shad color pattern. So I also, last thing in the package was I got another Rapala OG Slim 6 in the big shad color. This was perhaps the only color that I didn't already have in the Slim 6. You know, I've got the majority of the colors in my arsenal, more than I need, really. So, ranging from the green gizzard to the what do they call this color? This is like one of their most popular color patterns, and I don't know why I always forget its name, but Travis Manson loves this freaking color. I like it, don't love it. No, it's not called Threadfin, but I've got their Caribbean Shad. No, it's not called Disco Shad either, guys. This is a very standard Rapala color pattern. Someone tell me what this is called. I will confirm it once I see it. I've got a perch pattern in this bait, and then a whole bunch of craw patterns from their red craw to like their brown craw to like their root beer and root beer chartreuse color patterns. So honestly, pretty much had everything in that bait except for the big shad. So Helsinki shad, thank you, Daniel. That's the one. That's the one, bro. Matt, you're a little late. Sorry. But thank you for looking that up. Helsinki. All right, so Chick Magnets going in my flat side box, which I need to reorganize officially starting now. But that does it for this order from Tackle Direct, where I really just wanted to get the Chick Magnet. And then I saw the opportunity to pick up a couple of good colors of the Stunna, which was a jerkbait that I was going to pick up no matter what. Now, I probably could have waited on this guy because it will be in stock at Discount Tackle soon enough and probably on sale. And when it is, I'll probably pick 1 or 2 more up. But it has not come in stock there yet. And on other websites, like Susquehanna Fishing Tackle, where I picked up this guy in the perch color, and on Tackle Warehouse, I think these 2 color patterns are sold out. Harder to find, harder to get. So I decided to jump on them now and potentially be able to throw them here before the ice forms on our bodies of water here in Colorado. So then a lot of these online retailers like to play games, and you got to spend $75 in order to use a promo code to get free shipping, which is kind of annoying. So you can only use one promo code, and so you can either spend $200 and get $15 off, which isn't that great of a deal, or you can spend 75 and get free shipping, which ordinarily would cost you $10. So that's kind of what I try to do if and when I shop at Tackle Direct, is spend the $75, because if you're spending 50 or $60 and you spend the $10 on shipping, it's kind of annoying. And yeah, Ray, Daniel, and Matt are right. It's Helsinki Shad. Sean says, still waiting on the Jackal Blings to come in. Yeah, those aren't very available at the moment either. Hopefully, once they are available, there's a decent stock of them, but we will have to see, man. Ray said, Wasinki. Helsinki. Yeah. Matt says, I didn't know this, but there's this Pat's Gill bait that dude was looking for today, and I don't think he knew how much they were. Dude comment, $1,500 for one. Dude was lost. Take it easy, Matt. And Matt is like on the underground black market looking for one-off swim baits that almost nobody but super swim bait enthusiasts have heard of, and he's snatching them up like you wouldn't believe. So, Matt, we don't really speak that language, most of us here. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to chime in to that conversation. Ray says the Mega 360 is amazing. Hard to fish when there's so much to look at. Yeah, I hear you. That's pretty sweet, man. Happy for you that you got it, and that's got to be a game changer for you. Super fun. So yeah, keep me posted about how your fishing changes, and how much more effective you are on the water using that technology versus not having it in the first place. Sean says, I'm fixing to send 2 of my tiny clashes to get custom painted. Right on, dude. Who are you going to have custom paint those? Who are you sending them to? I mean, Tiny Clash, TK, Tackle Craft, TK, you probably should go ahead and send those to Tackle Craft, if we're being honest. Matt says, I would never spend that much. I'd rather win one versus spend that much. It's just ridiculous, man. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be kind of out of your mind if you're spending $1,500 on a swim bait. Um, but a lot of us fishermen are out of our minds, so do what you want, spend your money how you want. But on a lure, I don't, I will probably never do that. Ron says, I'm a Russian spy. I have a secret bait from Afghanistan. You want it? 1 billion rubies. Ray says, hey, any word on the release date of the OG Tiny yet? No, dude. I think it's pushed to maybe January. Let's just check real quick, because to be honest with you, I hate to say it, but Tackle Warehouse is probably our best bet. Even though they've been as guilty or more than and anybody at back ordering stuff. So January 14th is what they're showing right now, which is annoying. So it is definitely a 2022 bait. Um, unless somehow you're like in Texas or somewhere where the weather is so warm and the water is so warm that your fish are going to be shallow and eating a flat side. But really, I think that's going to come into play like next year pre-spawn. Because isn't it supposed to be like a 3 foot diver? 4 foot diver? Yeah. 4 foot versus 6 on the OG. Um, so yeah. I like the fact that it's going to be smaller, but it is going to be lighter. 5/16 of an ounce is no joke. So you will need to have your cranking setup fairly dialed in, um, or potentially throw it on spinning gear. But I don't like to throw crankbaits on spinning gear. That's just me. So Sean is going to send it to Tackle Craft. Right on, man. Dude paints some awesome baits. Matt says, I'm testing a bait out for Debo. He sent it a couple days ago. I'm helping him figure out some stuff for his online store, and the baits that he's selling. Sweet, man. That's awesome. Good for you, helping out a fellow angler and someone like Debo, who's a good guy and and deserves all the success that he's having right now. And it'll be interesting to see just how well he does in selling the baits that he's painting. Given that his following on social media has really blown up in the last couple of years, but yeah, I know he's buying blanks online and painting them. So I always feel a little bit mixed about that. I've got quite a bit more respect for like the fact that Tacklecraft is really just painting other people's baits. He's not really painting blanks and selling them in the same way that a lot of guys are doing these days. But still, I I have a lot of respect for Debo, and I don't think there's anything wrong with what he's doing in painting blanks and selling them. I have no idea how much he's marking them up, uh, because it's also kind of hard to put a price on um, the paint job that you do, and the fact that there's some novelty there. Some people might spend more time than others on painting baits. And then, of course, just fans of Debo's are going to be willing to spend the money for the baits that he's painting and making. So Ron says, when I go to Debo's store, everything is sold out. Yeah, maybe Matt needs to help him out in restocking. Just kidding. Yeah, I don't know how easy that's going to be, and it's entirely possible that because of the following that Debo has, that he is going to sell things fairly quick. Sean says, I saw some at Sportsman's Outfitters, but they were sold out. What, some of those tiny fours, the OGs? Interesting. Tackle Warehouse tried that with the Sims gear I was getting, so I went straight through the fly shops up there in Colorado. Great people, super nice. Yeah. Well, as I said, Tackle Warehouse has been guilty of that, just like a lot of other places throughout COVID. Um, they have a projected date and then things get pushed back. So it's not like they're doing that on purpose, but they're just hoping that baits will show up sooner than later. And they'd rather not project a date that's 6 months out or longer and then just surprise people out of nowhere, um, out of the blue, and get a limited stock and then it go out and then be without those baits for quite a while again. So, they're doing what they can, but it is an unfortunate situation. It's going to be a good surprise for his fans when they find out what bait he's planning on selling, and it's not a crankbait. And he did a great job on the paint job too. Um, well, is it that TK knockoff? Because he's been showing that, dude. So yeah, you can buy those Tiny Clash blanks for like $10, $15. I'm not sure what it is. Um, Ben Milliken posted a video just a week or two ago of him buying a bunch of swim bait blanks that he's going to paint up. So in there were a couple of those tiny clashes, including like a downsized version that you can't even buy on the mainstream market. That is like a 5.5 inch version. So pretty cool looking deal. Ron says the dates are from the supplier, not Tackle Warehouse. Yeah, I believe you. I mean, but it same thing applies, right? In terms of just projections. Sean says hundreds of container ships are sitting on the coast, can't be unloaded. Delays are inevitable. Yeah, for sure. Well, Ray, a text alert system over a back order pushback again and again. Yeah, I mean, uh, wouldn't be a bad idea, but how many places are doing a text alert system to contact individual people? Um, I suppose it wouldn't be more difficult than sending out an email, right? But do they send out an email when your date gets pushed back, or do they not let you know? It just never shows up. Because I had that happen once or twice last year where I ordered a bait and literally it didn't come for like 9 months and I had totally forgotten about it. And then I get a package in the mail from Tackle Warehouse that is like one bait. Uh, Kind of a weird deal. No, get out of here, Matt. You can't spill the beans to us. Eight. There's 8 of us in here right now. You can't tell us what kind of bait it's going to be. And yeah, I understand that those tiny clashes aren't consistent as knockoffs. So my understanding is that the weighting in them can be off, so they need to be tweaked. And you don't want to be selling inconsistent baits. But tell us, what is it that Debo's going to be selling, man? $1 million in the gun industry, which by far outsizes my fishing participation. Not sure what you're saying there, Ray. Um, but okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about tonight before I dip out of here? It's 10:45 my time. Oh, text alerts. Okay, Ray says there's 1 million of the text alerts in the gun industry. Interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, well, you would think that the fishing industry could get into that, but um, a lot of the way that the fishing industry operates is old school, dude. That's just kind of the way that it's been, obviously, for a long time, but it still is. So I can't explain why that is. Um, and there's a reason that Tackle Warehouse has been as successful as they are and been able to open, a secondary location, kind of like the hookup tackle. They just they're not only carrying such a wide variety of inventory and do a really good job at restocking in general. COVID has been an exception, but uh, both of those stores carry a vast variety. Um, Pretty much anything and everything that people are looking for, and they stock them well, and they're competitive with their pricing, and they've got good shipping, and they keep their customers happy. So there's not a lot of places like that in the industry. And even still, the ones who are doing that well aren't doing it perfectly in this day and age. I would say the hookup tackle is perhaps the most reliable um, retailer these days, but they don't carry a lot of mainstream stuff because they are a JDM specialist. So first click, first serve, says Ray, but it's nice for sure. Yeah, Sean, slow to evolve. It will take more people disrupting the industry um, for things to really change and change quickly. Matt says, I'll give you the type. It's a swim bait, but it's not the final reason he's having me test them out. Uh, it's a swim bait, but it's not final. The reason he's having me test them out first is to see how they run and see if you can make them better, which I'm sure you can. But what was your most successful lure this week, bro? Um, Jerk bait. Starting to move to a jerk bait. Crankbait is still working for me, but um, yeah, really the jerk bait, the chatterbait bite is like gone for me. Haven't put enough time into a lipless crankbait, but I would say that square bill type of crankbait is still working for me, and jerk baits are starting to work. So I will probably just start fishing jerk baits more and more, and always have one tied on for the remainder of the season. Um, I've not been able to get bit on top water, which has been disappointing to me. But I have been mixing things up, and trying a wide variety of techniques. But it's been the jerk bait, dude. And then, like I said, I got into a mess of bluegill today. Just doing a little bit of pan fishing with a chunk of the max scent hitworm. So just throwing that under an indicator near a dock and just ripping some lips. Maybe caught 15 bluegill in a half an hour or something like that. Literally every cast or every other cast for a while, just to kind of solve some of my boredom. You know, I went out to catch pike, um, but also hoping to catch a big bass. Managed to catch a pike and no bass in like 2.5 hours. So I went to another spot, made a handful of casts, trying to target bass, and saw a whole bunch of bluegill up in the shallows. So immediately started tearing into the bluegill. You know, it is what it is. Sean says, here's something funny for you. I made an order from Japan Lure Shop and Tackle Warehouse on the same day, and got the order from Japan before the one from Tackle Warehouse. Yeah, man. That's no joke. Japan Lure Shop and Ichiban have ridiculously fast shipping. Um, like 2 or 3 days. Um, Crazy fast, man. Ron says, opinion on wake baits. I've got a great opinion on wake baits. I have been fishing them somewhat frequently, man. Uh, I told you guys last stream, though, right? The one that has been doing the most damage for me as of late has been the Strike King KVD 2.5. And the one that I've been throwing is still tied on upstairs in the garage. So um, this is just a backup of that color, the oyster color. I like to change out the hooks on these. So what I did was throw on an EWG in a red, like a red triple grip, in a sized up to a size 2 in the front, and then a feather treble in the back. Gives it a really fishy look to it. And actually fishing it on fluorocarbon so that I can fish it slower on the top or just barely subsurface, or I can just burn this thing uh, and it will dive maybe a foot or a foot and a half subsurface. So KVD 2.5 has been sweet for me really all season. But a couple others that I have that they're definitely worth knowing about or worth throwing or having. This is the Yozuri 3DB wake bait, I believe it's called. So it's got that internal prism finish. A little bit of a different rattle to it. The Berkeley Wake Bowl is fairly similar to that Strike King. Very loud, one knocker type of sound, but it's got a thinner walled plastic to it. And then something like the Strike King, or sorry, the 6 Sense Movement 80 Wake is a good option, but quite a bit more erratic in how it swims. The other ones swim fairly true. Instead of true, I mean tight, rather. Another wake bait that's good for this time of year is the 6 Sense Speed Wake. Okay. So this is the time of year where a wake bait fished fast as opposed to slow is really in your best interest. Not because the fish are always feeding aggressively per se, but more so just because they're on the move and you want them to react. So in the summertime, where you might throw bigger, slower moving wake baits, like swim baits and rats and things like that, in the fall and in the spring are good times to throw wake baits and fish them fast. Daniel says, I'm looking into fish finders. Where'd that go? Trying to hold out, see if there's anything good on Black Friday sales. Yep, that's always a good time to do it, but I don't know what exactly is going to be on sale for Black Friday in the way of fish finders. So, yeah, you might want to start doing your research now. Maybe even start calling a retailer or two to see, at the very least, what manufacturers, see if Garmin or Humminbird are offering sales prices during Black Friday in Lawrence. Ray says, like the fire cry, I wouldn't have gotten that for another 6 to 8 months without the hookup from this skiing hippie dude. Who you talking about? You talking about me? I'm not a hippie anymore, man. Yeah. Used to be, man. Used to be. Did I ever show you guys the picture of me with dreadlocks back in 2010? Would you believe that? My senior year of college, even in my college graduation pictures, I was rocking dreadlocks that were down here, man. Wakes are underestimated for sure because you have different types. You have true wakes or wakes slash crankdowns, multi-jointed or two-piece. Yep, you're right, Matt. Using rats mainly, but I have tons of wakes. To be honest, I love them because the bite is sweet. They usually crush them unless it's cold. Sometimes they will slurp them right down. Yeah. Ray says they're super tough to get your hands on. Been that way all year due to the lack of chips and motherboards in supply. Yeah, I hear you, man. You say I'm still a pretty boy? Thanks, Ray. I appreciate you, man. Well, Ray, I guess I could try and look it up real quick, man. You guys would get a kick out of this. It would be a good note to sign off on tonight. Um, I will show you guys my former dreadlocks. And I was kind of sad in retrospect that I didn't keep them longer because no, I'm not going to use it for a thumbnail. That would be funny if I did though, huh? How do I look at photos on Facebook, yo? See, I am rarely on Facebook, so I mean like almost never. So I really don't know how to access some of this stuff, you know? Come on, come on. Photo. No. Photos. Do it. Do it. All right, I'm getting closer, guys. Oh. Little embarrassing. This is the day that I put the dreadlocks in. Yeah, that's me right there. That was right before we put them in. Um, and then a few months later, you can't see them very well. But here's a picture of me and my wife at our college graduation. He says, the smoking days. Get out of here. I mean, they were, but dude, we're on my spring break trip of 2010. My dreads were kind of in their prime. There was one photo that I wanted to show you. Now, my son is crying right now. You rock the Joe Dirt, Sean? So, yeah. I had long hair. I had dreads. Um, one day in the past, guys. So consider yourselves lucky to have seen that right now, because I don't pull that up. So, oh hell yeah, Daniel. I in fact the 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 fishing guide that I had just a couple weeks back when I went fly fishing on private property, um, was a dude who lives in the mountains and has dreads and is a professional skier in the wintertime, does a lot of backcountry skiing, and competitions and stuff like that. He's a sponsored skier, and then he's a fly fishing guide the rest of the year. So Ray says, "You look like an accountant now." Yeah, well, I had a business meeting today, and I never quite changed out of my outfit. So yeah, sorry that I do look a little bit overdressed at the moment. Daniel says, "I discovered on accident how to protect your favorite fishing spots." How's that, man? And Ron, I hope you don't judge me too much now. Now that you've seen the former dreadlocks, haven't had that hairstyle in 11 years. Uh, Unfortunately, I only had them for like 6 or 8 months or something like that. But yeah, was given a really hard time by my parents and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, just because it was a ton of maintenance. I'm a clean type of guy. I like to shower. And when dreads are fresh, they need a lot of wax to be able to help them set. And so not only did my wife help put the dreads in, I used a special shampoo that you saw it like puff my hair out. I used to have, I mean, I do have really curly hair. So I had like long hair that would be down to my shoulders. I put it up in a ponytail, and I decided to go for dreads and had my wife put the dreads in. It took like 8 hours one day. And then she had to help put the wax in, um, to keep their shape so that they would set properly. And it took like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months for them to set. And by the time that they did, I was already pretty fed up with them. Had them up in a ponytail most of the time. It was pretty annoying. So, yeah, I wish that I'd kept them for another year, because my wife and I then moved to Costa Rica like 3 months after I cut them. And so many people in Costa Rica had dreads and knew exactly how to maintain them, and burn them, and do all the right things to make them look awesome. And I didn't have them anymore. Ray says, "My beard is as long as your dreads, and my hair is down to my shoulder blades. Who am I to judge?" Is that a fact, Ray? I didn't know that, man. You got the long stuff these days? Or have you always? Daniel says, "I created an IG account just to follow YouTube and fishing buddies. I only post a few pics of super dinks. Not one of my buddies wants to go to my spots." That's pretty funny, man. Oh, that's hilarious, actually. Ron says he doesn't have hair. LaGrady shortcake? Is that wooden bait that you showed me the other day, Matt? Because if it is, that would be one that maybe I would get on a wait list for, man. Depending on how expensive the bait is, but that thing looked real nice. Yeah, Matt's a background blocker, blurrer. Not the most appealing looking photos. when it's literally just you and a fish and no background, or like a really sloppy, wiped out background. But it is effective. Sean says, I never post pics of fish because the locals would follow me around if I did. Yep, I hear you. You know, because once people recognize you, that's another ball game altogether, right? Um, I used to make the mistake of not cropping my photos properly, not framing my photos properly. So now I make a point to put the fish in the photo where it's really only water, maybe a little bit of rocks. Um, you can't tell where I am. You see nothing on the horizon. You can't see the bank. You can't see where I am, what body of water, or where on that body of water I am. But yeah, if people know where you fish and then they start catching on to the fact that you're catching them and catching good ones, then of course they're just gonna watch where you go. So that's a different ball game altogether for sure. 70 bucks for custom handmade carved wooden lures. All right, dude. Yeah. So send me a link for that waiting list, because if I can get one in the next year or so, I'd probably do it. But yeah, send it to me. Daniel says I'll send one to you, Tyler, and you'll understand why you don't have to hide. And Ron is the ultimate. He just doesn't catch fish in the first place. So Ray, what are you saying? Uh, just the last 2 years you've grown your stuff out, your beard and your hair. And you have your reasons, dude. You know, it doesn't matter what your reasons are. That's sweet. Um, I probably could have gotten away with it the last 2 years, work wise, but family wise, not so much. Um, my wife probably would not get in bed with me, and I don't know what my kids would think of me. Um, you know, when my beard gets out of control, about every 8 weeks or so, I'm given a really hard time about it. And I did grow out my hair earlier this summer to where it was curly and starting to get shaggy, and had to hack it up. So yeah, I haven't had long hair again since then. It used to be like a yearly deal for me where I'd grow out my hair and then I'd just shave it off, just go straight buzz. Um, and that was my deal for probably like 6 years, just before high school and then all through high school and into college. It was mostly a swimming related thing, you know. I was a competitive swimmer back in the day, and we would just shave everything for like the big swim meet of the year. You know, we would train super hard and then we would taper off to conserve our energy, you know, just uh, a strategic way of training to where then we would be at our absolute strongest and fastest for a period of a few days. Before then, we'd be out of shape again. So, not only would we do that, but we would shave our whole bodies. Uh, and so we would intentionally grow our hair out to have more drag throughout the season and then be able to shave off that much more time by shaving our hair off, um, when it came to the state meet, the regional meet, things like that. Ray's wife hates it. With all my ink, people definitely approach you differently. Interesting. Yeah. I don't have any tattoos as of right now, believe it or not. Someday that might and probably will change, but just hasn't been my deal up until this point in time. My brother in law, on the other hand, is running out of canvas. He is fully tatted up. Um, like his legs, his back completely done. His arms completely done. He's got very few on his chest and stomach for whatever reason. He's got a few on his chest, but nothing on his stomach. He's got some on his hands. Um, yeah, he's running out of room, dude. I wouldn't be surprised if he started doing tats on his head. Um, Pretty crazy. There definitely are some awesome artists here. It's just a matter of like what I want. I might maybe something fishing related. Um, I don't know. Every time I've considered it, I've only thought about it for a very short period of time, and then just dropped it. Ferg says face tats are cool. Uh, you think so? I don't know, man. I don't think face tats are cool. That's just me though. Daniel says I just sent 2 pics to your Instagram of the dinks I'm talking about. I swear it'll make you laugh. No, I believe you. Ron, what did you do in 1974? And I kind of agree with you, Ron. You never saw a design that you wanted for life. I think I could probably come up with something if I gave it enough thought. But, again, I would want it to be really meaningful or, something that represented me quite well. And, my brother-in-law is just obsessed to the point where he doesn't even really think through what he's getting tattooed on him. It's more about the artist who's tattooing him, um, or filling in a certain part of his body, and different ball game. He almost doesn't care what the tattoo is of, just because his body is a canvas and a piece of art. So it's interesting. Matt says that the guys around him see you catch a fish and they want to come within 30 feet of you. That's annoying. I'd tell him to back up, dude. Back it up. That's a good point, Ray. Get it while your skin is good still. Yeah, but then what happens when my skin starts to wrinkle, man? Because I've gotten a fair amount of sun in my years. You can see I got some sun today. Like I've got a sunglass tan just being outside for like 3 hours, um, doing some fishing. It was like 70 degrees here in Colorado today, so I couldn't help it. I had to go out, and yeah, that's a fair point. At the point that your skin starts to wrinkle and the tats start looking shitty, then who cares, right? I hear you. Ron Hawley with the long hair and a stash back in '74. That would be pretty cool. Love to see some pictures of you guys rocking your wild hairdos. And Ray says, bro, get your family in a shadow. Like when you see someone in the distance on the beach. Not sure what that style is called, but that would be sick. Interesting. Yeah, a little family portrait action or individual faces. Sean, bad thing about tats is that if you get a dolphin at 20, then at 60, that dolphin turns to a whale. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, I understand that. So all the more reason to be hesitant of getting a tattoo now, or even later in life, is that my skin is likely to change. So maybe later in life is the move. Like when I'm 50 or 60, when my skin does start to sag a little bit. I fully intend to be really healthy and fit my entire life, but I know that skin tends to sag a bit. So silhouettes, Ray says. All right, man. Hey guys, I've been on for an hour and 42 minutes. I keep hearing sounds, and I swear my son is crying. And if he's been crying this long and I'm just ignoring him, I feel bad about that. So I do need to go check. And since it is as late as it is, I'm just going to hop out of here. But if I have the opportunity tomorrow night, if my kids go down as easily then as they did tonight, then you can expect me to be back on tomorrow night, Friday Night Live. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. We talked fishing for half the time, and we talked personal stuff, starting with my dreadlocks, for like the last half hour. So kind of a fun conversation. But um, guys, thanks for hanging out tonight. Really appreciate you. If you haven't already hit the thumbs up button, do me that solid real quick. Um, Ron says, "Don't slip in the dog pee." What? Yeah, I gotta go check on that. Uh, Thank you for the reminder and the heads up because she might have pissed. She's been stomping around and banging on that back door, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's piss on the floor. Um, Fingers crossed that there isn't, but wouldn't be the worst that I cleaned up today. My baby boy had a giant blowout diaper that definitely got on me today. So I've already had um, fish poo and human poo on me today. So yeah, what's a little dog pee? All right, guys. Have a great rest of your night. Enjoy your Friday tomorrow. The weekend is coming. I am with my kids tomorrow. Not working much just because it's tough to find the time when you got 3 little kids. So um, have a great rest of your night. I will hopefully see you tomorrow night. If I don't, hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you again in the next one. Peace, guys.